We all know that familiar statistic. Women working full-time make an average of 80 cents for every dollar a man makes. But when you look more closely at the gender wage gap, you'll see that it's not the same for all women. African American women are paid just 61 cents and Latinas just 53 cents for every dollar paid to white men. This gap extends beyond their bank accounts because today, only 1 in 5 C-suite leaders is a woman, and only 1 in 25 is a woman of color. When we talk about what it's like to be a woman today, we can't afford to generalize. But because women of color aren't always in the room, too often their stories are being told for them, not by them. Benish Shah, Chief Growth Officer of Loop and Tie, wants to change that. And she's ready to break through the concrete, yeah, that's right, I said concrete ceiling that so many women of color face. This is Work It. Let's talk about how the world, and brands in particular, speak to women, and especially women of color.
Right.
You recently tweeted, now I'm not gonna get it exact, but basically I know the hashtag was over it, because you were over it, and you said you're tired of media companies telling stories of women of color that are not actually told by women of color and are whitewashed.
Yes. The whitewashing is more about wanting to hear the stories and make you feel good about yourself.
Yes.
And that's what they want to hear. But if a woman of color, a Muslim woman specifically, wants to start talking about something very random, like, this is a beauty product I really like, they're not as interested. Right. Because for some reason, it's not okay for us to have normal lives or normal careers or anything of that sort. We can't have experiences that are beyond what is okay for white America to feel bad about.
Or that's different from white America.
Right, because if you were celebrating things that were actually different, or you were celebrating just real experiences, then maybe they wouldn't be able to relate. And I think, to me, that's the game changer, is that when brands actually step up and tell real stories by real people, and they might be a little different from what they're used to, for what sells, then it's a different experience.
Well, also, you won't know what sells until you try to sell it.
You have to try it.
You have to try and sell it. Because when you let people create and you really take in their ideas, then you can feel it in the brand. But because you're not listening to those of us in the room, you're never going to have access to them. And when you don't want to open up your eyes, you're never going to be able to tell different stories because you don't even know that exists. And if you want to start telling stories of the everyday person, you have to open up your own network to have some of those people in it.
One of the things that I loved, that I thought was so powerful, that you talked about, was that for women of color, it's not just a glass ceiling that they're trying to break. The ceiling is concrete. Tell me what you mean by that.
Sure, so a little bit of it is this idea of a glass ceiling where you can see yourself up there.
Yes.
Right, and I think that if you grow up as a woman of color, it's really hard to see yourself beyond that because there's nobody up there that looks like you.
Yes.
So that creates a concrete ceiling that you can't see beyond it, and two, you're gonna constantly hit it over and over again because no one is going to open that up for you to see where you could be.
Right, because a glass ceiling gives you the idea that, number one, you can see through, so you see at the top. Number two, glass can be broken, right? But concrete
Can't.
It's opaque.
Absolutely.
And so that's a very, very powerful, powerful statement. So what do women of color then do?
I think that you build your own house when you put the ceiling wherever you want it to be. And I think that's why you see women of color leading business, like creating businesses, being entrepreneurs, and kind of taking charge of their own destiny and paths that are not traditional. It is a lot harder and it is rougher. There's no question about it. But I have found that the women of color I know that are successful and have figured it out, they are forces of nature, like nothing I've seen.
So how do you decide which direction to go? Are you gonna try and push through at least to a certain level and then build your own house? How do you know?
I actually did the opposite.
Okay,
I built my own house and then I went back into corporate and I started working for other people. Because what that was able to give me, not just clout, but confidence in who I am. and knowing that I can set my boundaries and I can walk out if I'm not treated well. When you have an opportunity in life to build your own path or build like the world that you want to live in, and then you go into someone else's world, then you know yourself. You know yourself, you know your worth, you know what your boundaries are.
And you have the power to say that because you've already built your own story, you've already built your own career.
It is perfectly fine to follow whichever path you want to follow, and that everybody's going to tell you that you're doing it wrong. And you are doing it wrong for them, but you're doing it right for yourself, and that's what you have to get comfortable with.
On the next episode of Work It.
People think being an influencer is really easy. If it was so easy, though, everybody would do it.